Hello. Just a minute. I'm having a technical difficulty and we'll be cleared up in just a sec. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. I hope everybody can hear me. And let me just fix my camera situation here and we'll be good to go. Let's see. Almost there. Just trying to clear up the connection. I hope everyone is good today. Let me make sure that we are connected, and I'll shift that over. Sorry about this. Make sure my Wi-Fi is on the same network as my computer. Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I am just waiting for this to start here. Okay. You have to forgive me. I'm new to this. Okay, good. Thank you, Tori. Tori says she can hear me. Just trying to figure out my little camera situation here. It's like there, but it's blurred out. So this worked last couple times I did it. I'm trying to remember what I did differently, but we'll get it figured out. Thanks. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right. I know it's always like I test this ahead of time and it's always good. And then the minute I try to go live, it's like, never mind. But we'll get it figured out. Technology, right? Come on. You love it and you hate it, and either way. Okay. It's looking good on my phone. Okay. Maybe let me disconnect it and connect it again and see. Maybe. Oh, yay. Okay. Got it. I'm here. Look at my lovely keyboard. Isn't it beautiful? All right. Thank you guys for your patience on that. Looks clear on my end. Let me just straighten it up. And I'm going to back up a little bit so that you guys can see everything. I'm going to scooch this. I am so excited to talk about color. Anytime I get to talk about color, I'm a happy girl. I'm a happy girl. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. Oh my goodness. Beautiful. Welcome, welcome. I'll just wait a second for more people because I actually just had to resend the link to those folks who signed up on Eventbrite. And hopefully everybody's starting to get that link. And I really, really, really appreciate everybody being so patient because I am pretty new to this. And you got to learn sometime, right? So thank you for being my guinea pigs. And I cannot wait to talk about color with you guys. So, woo, sorry, my desk is shaking. Figured I'll start by talking a little bit about how these colors came to be. So I have been a Daniel Smith brand ambassador since last September. I am so honored and so grateful to be a part of that family because it really is just a great big family. And I am so honored to get to rub shoulders with such amazing people. And this is just like a dream come true to have my own 18 colors. So I paint everything. I love to paint. I love to learn. And I started painting specifically dogs in 2020 when my own dog passed away and I painted his portrait. And then people saw that and friends started asking me. And that is kind of how I got started doing commission work. And then I started painting cats and I've done horses. I have yet to do birds for people, but I do paint. I love to paint birds. So if somebody's got a pet bird, send me pics. I want to paint some pet birds. But anyway, animals of all kind. I just love painting animals. And it's especially significant to get to paint people's dogs. I think dogs are special. And when somebody loses a pet, a dog, it's a whole other thing. And to be able to receive a custom painting of your pet is a gift. And I love that I get to do that. So that is how this dot card was born. So I keep a sketchbook. And I've shown this little thing before, but I have multiple sketchbooks. This is just an inexpensive Arteza brand sketchbook. I buy them in 2 packs. Sometimes they're available, sometimes they're not. I get them on Amazon. But any inexpensive sketchbook will do for this because all this is me planning out my paintings. So I recently did a colorful dog on YouTube, and I'll show that. So that video is up if you want to paint this dog. This was me planning ahead. So it's really important to me to get my colors down on paper before I get them on my actual painting. And so this planning process is really important to my process. Okay, so as I was going and as I was painting things, I was kind of looking through my sketchbook and thought, okay, what are the 18 colors that consistently pop out for me? Like, what are the 18 colors that I'm using regularly for my pet portraits? And these were the winners. This almost killed me. Any brand ambassador can tell you, picking out just 18 out of the 266 something colors that Daniel Smith has to offer is torture. And the way that I got around that is I said, okay, what are my favorite 18 pet portrait colors? Because I love Cascade Green. I love Rose of Ultramarine. There's so many magical Daniel Smith colors that are my favorites. And so there's no way I could only pick 18. And so I said, okay, maybe someday down the road, I could eventually pick a different 18 set that's my main favorites. But for this, I specifically named this my pet portrait palette. So these are the colors that I consistently use in my pet portrait work. And so today I just want to talk about each of these colors, why they're on this card, and how I like to use them. So let me take a drink really quick. I literally just got off of Daniel Smith Live, as Nancy mentioned in the chat, that I literally just got done painting a dog. Let me see if I can find. I'm not finished with it yet, but this is how far I made it. I've got to work on the nose quite a bit still. But I'm really happy with how the eye turned out. So this, I'm going to talk about some of these colors here in a second. But let's just begin here. So the top row are kind of my yellowy colors. So specifically, I have a hard time with yellow ochre. Yellow ochre to me is really opaque. And I painted these two dogs, and you can almost tell which one is yellow ochre because of the opacity. I don't love yellow ochre. So this one I ended up with yellow ochre, and this one's painted with transparent brown oxide and a little bit of transparent yellow oxide, which is my go-to in place of yellow ochre. So here we have my transparent yellow oxide. Now it is a little brighter and a little more yellow, and it has a lot more granulation than your regular yellow ochre. So let me show this to you. Look at this beauty. I love this color. Get it closer. Look at that. It's just so stunning. And as the name says, it is transparent. Obviously, the thicker you layer it, the more opaque it's going to get. But I really love this color. So if you're looking for a replacement for yellow ochre, may I recommend transparent yellow oxide. I love the transparent oxides. I also have transparent red oxide on my dot card, and brown, because transparent red oxide is my my answer for burnt sienna. And then transparent brown oxide is my answer for burnt umber. Although I do still have burnt umber on my card. So those two are neighbors on the card. And I kept them both. And I'll talk about why. But let's just start. Here's the yellows. So we've got nickel, azo yellow. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I say nickel azo yellow. If you've ever had a bladder infection and had to take those pills that turn your pee like super orange, that's basically the dye that they use in those pills is like this nickel azo yellow. And that's why the brand is called azo. Just gross fun fact for you. But this yellow is bright. It's clear. It's non-granulating. I made it kind of almost look granulating. When I do a swatch, I like to dip my fingers in my water and flick it because I want like the nuances and the lights and the darks and the cauliflowers. To me, that's what makes watercolor magical. So if you're wondering how I make my swatches, that's how I do it. Just dip your fingers in your water and flick it. It's super fun and it gives you some really cool effects. Same thing here with the quinacridone gold. So quinacridone gold is a staple in a lot of people's palettes. And I just recently discovered quinacridone deep gold, which has a whole other, oh my goodness, the depth of that color. I actually wanted deep gold on my on my dot card here, and I could have gotten away with it because you can take quinacridone deep gold and water it down and essentially get quinacridone gold. But I digress. I ended up choosing quinacridone gold because it is just such a staple color. It glows. If you're wanting an eye, let me think. I think I used it recently on a pet portrait. I can't find an example right now, but if you want the eye of an animal to have a glint of sunlight in it and you want it to glow, add a little quin gold and it will just light right up. Any painting for that matter, add a little quin gold and you've got liquid sunlight. Now this color is bossy. This color, I'm going to swatch it for you because you just got to see how it behaves. I have one of our brand ambassadors, Carrie. She talks about bossy colors and colors that like to push everybody around. And I would say that nickel azo yellow is a bossy, pushy color, and I love it. So let me grab some of that, and I'm just gonna see if you guys can see this. I'm gonna swatch it up here for you. So I've got some pure pigment going on right here. You can see that. In fact, in the palette, it's pretty ugly actually in the palette. It's almost got like this duck poop color going on. Let's see here. So now I'm going to just add some water, and I want you to see this leap through the water. That's why I'm putting water first, and then I'll connect the two and you'll see it leap. Ready? Do you see that? I love this color. It is very pushy. You can drop a droplet of it into another color and it will push those pigments out of the way. Let me just show that really quick. I'm going to take some really dark neutral tint. Really dark. And I will drop in some nickel azo yellow and show you what I'm talking about this bossiness. Ready? See that? It pushes all the other pigments out of the way. And that's why this color is on my dot card. I love it. It's my favorite yellow. It's the first Daniel Smith yellow I ever got, and I'm just addicted to it. I can't get enough of this color. Beautiful, pure mixing yellow. It's a little more on the warm side, but I find it works really well for mixtures. So here's some mixtures I used it in. So I've mixed it with ultramarine, which is on my dot card, and got some really beautiful green variations. I have two questions. Tori's asking, what am I going to do when stock runs out of quinacridone gold? Great question. So I know John Cogley he says he has about 20 years worth of quinacridone gold. So we still have a little bit of time. I don't know what I'm going to do when it runs out. I'm sure somebody's going to come up with something amazing that we can use as an alternative. And let's see. Nancy said, yes, Daniel Smith stockpiled so much. John said he doesn't want to run out, so he will buy 20 years worth of pigment at one time. So I'm not super worried about that. Same situation with the quinacridone burnt orange, which is on my dot card. That's one that John has stockpiled as well. So that's another reason I love Daniel Smith. It's consistent. So from one tube to the next, I'm going to get consistent color. So here's some fun green variations I got from nickel azo yellow and ultramarine. And then the other blue on my dot card, King's Royal Blue, and the nickel azo yellow gave me some really pretty mixtures. So those are some of the greens you can make using the colors on my dot card. And then here we have, my primary red is more of a magenta. It's quinacridone red. As you can see, it's very pink. Add just a droplet of nickel azo yellow and you've got a pretty gorgeous red going on. So that's why there's no red on my dot card, because you can make it. You cannot make magenta, but you can make red using magenta and yellow. So that was something that was very important to me, that I had at least 3 gorgeous mixing colors. So that's the nickel azo yellow, quinacridone red, and ultramarine blue. And you can make some gorgeous mixes. And I will show some more of those here in a minute. But I want to keep moving because time goes so fast in these live sessions and these live streams, and I just don't want to run out of time. Okay, I want to just make sure I'm swatching for you guys each of the colors I'm talking about. So I'll just really, really quickly show you the quinacridone gold. So look, it's super close. Like it almost looks similar to that yellow, but look, it's got like a orangey glow to it. How beautiful is that? I love this color. And then let's water it down. Elizabeth has a question, and it's not a stupid question, by the way. There's no such thing. I love questions. She asked, what is the difference between neutral tint and lunar black? I would love to show that in a minute. When I get to neutral tint, I will absolutely answer that question, because I actually swatched lunar black for you today, because if I could add one more color to this dot card, it would be lunar black. So we'll get to that. So there we've got our Quin Gold. Do you see how clear it is? I haven't flicked water on it yet, and so you can get a really smooth, clear mixture. And then transparent yellow oxide. Make sure we're not covering up. You guys tell me if ever you can't see something I'm doing and I will adjust it. Okay, the transparent yellow oxide's coming in hot. Here we go. Once again, this is my answer to yellow ochre. I do not love yellow ochre. Doesn't matter which brand I've tried. I'm just not a huge fan of the opacity of it. I think it dulls things down. I guess it depends on what you're painting. Some people love it, just not for me. And then you can take some of that transparent yellow oxide and drop it in, and it just gives the most beautiful textures. It's gorgeous. I like to use this on dogs that are like a yellow lab, or I've done a few actually. Most of my yellow dogs have some variation of transparent yellow oxide, and I will take some burnt umber if I need to dull it down a little bit and not make it so yellow. There's ways to kind of tone it down. Actually, I used it here with the hematite. So all of this grayish and with this little variation is the hematite genuine mixed with the transparent yellow oxide. So we'll get to that too. I like to, if I want to warm up my this is actually hematite genuine with transparent yellow oxide added. And I love this because this dog that I just painted, the French Bulldog, that is what its fur looked like. And so that hematite did the work for me. Beautiful. I love it. Okay, moving on. Those are my yellows. Okay. Let's move on to kind of the red section. So now I've got my transparent red oxide. Gorgeous color. If you want to paint rust, oh, that's your one that you want to use. Look at this. Is that not rust? I mean, come on, look at that granulation. Just love this color. This is just, I use this instead of burnt sienna. I love that chunky granulation. Look at that. I added a drop of water and the chunks of pigment just floated away. Gorgeous. You can, however, make smoother washes of it. Let me just demonstrate that. Oh, this color when it is wet. Beautiful. I'm going to try to keep this live stream to an hour. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And if some of you need to go, and I'm still yakking, the replay will be posted for you. Look at this color. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Beautiful. And you can deepen it as much as you want or make it light. It doesn't matter. But look at this color. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, so that's our transparent red oxide. Quinacridone burnt orange is next. I had to have this one on my palette. I just had to. Yeah, I just don't even know how to explain it. This one's great for eyes that are glowing, just like the quinacridone gold. And this might seem kind of redundant because technically I think this, I could probably make something like this by mixing the quinacridone gold with something else. But I wanted the clarity that this gives and the simplicity of just having it pre-ready for me. So the Quin Burnt Orange, give me just a second to get it out of my palette. I didn't have it in a tube form, so I had to cut a little piece of a watercolor stick and throw it in my palette. And I highly recommend watercolor sticks. I'll probably do a video on those in the future. I just need to get a few more of them because I don't have a ton of the sticks. But look at this. Oh gosh, this color. Let's watch it play. The quinacridones are beautiful in the fact that they will jump through the water. They will just leap and dance and play. They're beautiful. I was so happy when I finally completed my collection of quinacridones. If you haven't, let me just show you what they look like. So here's the quinacridone orange and yellows. They're beautiful. And they're clear. They do not have granulation. They're perfectly transparent. But as you can see, my swatches have cauliflowering. You just can't, no other art medium gives you this. It's just delicious. I don't even know how else to explain it. It's delicious. So here's the Quin Deep Gold compared to the Quin Gold. You see the difference there. And that's why I went ahead and chose quinacridone gold as my main. And then I've got the quinacridone burnt orange. And I could probably mix these two and get something more like this. Quin burnt scarlet, beautiful. Quinacridone sienna, that one's beautiful as well. It's a good clear orange color. And then there's also magentas and purples. So guys, if you haven't tried the quinacridones, like, don't walk, run. Get them. They're beautiful. Look at that Quin coral. So this is just me going off on tangents, which I am prone to do, but this one is on my palette, and that's what we're going to talk about next is Quin Red. Oh, it's such a pretty color. I got addicted to it last year when I put it in my travel palette. And that's how I test new colors. They go in my travel palette when I get a new color, and I play with it as I do plein air painting and whatnot. So look at that. I don't know why it's called red because it is more of a magenta. But quinacridone magenta is a color and it leans more, I want to say, like deep. It's a deep magenta where this one is lighter. But look at this light pink. Do you want to say dog tongue? This one is fantastic for like I said, dog tongues, cat tongues, the little pink cat noses. I've painted some cats that have pink noses, and this is perfect. And if you want to warm it up a little bit, add some nickel azo yellow to this. Like I said, you can warm it up, and it makes it a little more on the red or orange side. There's a color by Winsor Newton that I like, but I don't like the consistency of it. It's called, oh gosh, I can't remember, but it's basically Hansa yellow and like a red or an orange. I can't remember. And it's this perfect pink color. It's just like a warm pink. And so that is what I was kind of going for, is with the quinacridone red and the nickel azo yellow. You can also try any of these other colors to warm this up. So great for ears that are pink, noses, tongues, that sort of thing. It's really important to me to have a good mixing magenta on my palette. So that's our reds. Sorry guys, this probably will go over. Just, I know myself and I know that I like to talk. So next we've got Potter's Pink. And Potter's Pink makes a perfect bloodshot pug eye, such as this. You see those bloodshot eyes? Come on. Potter's Pink is so good. So good. And a lot of times an animal will have like this little pink thing right there in their eye. Guys, if you know what that thing is called, humans have it too. So this color is great for that. It's great for insides of ears. It's also great for tongues. It just depends on the reference photo you're working from. And so I will switch back and forth a lot of times between this one and this one. So this is Minnesota Pipestone Genuine, and on camera it looks a lot deeper and a lot oranger than it actually is. Let me swatch those two out. I think I still need to swatch the Quin Red. Hold on, let me do that. So I'm bouncing all over the place. Forgive me. I don't think I have ADHD. I think I'm one of those people that I have so much fun things going on inside my brain that it gets crazy sometimes. So I'm going to swatch that light. Ooh, look at that light pink. Elizabeth, answer to your question. My dot cards are not for sale. They're something that I give away for free. And I usually tell people, if you want one of my dot cards, send me a DM. You can do that through Instagram, or you can email me. It's ashwatercolor@gmail.com. Super easy. And then I just ask people to pay for shipping so that I can ship that to you. Dot cards are fun. I'm constantly giving them out. And Daniel Smith supplies me with quite a few. so that I can give them out. Okay. Let's see here. We're doing Potter's Pink next. And Potter's Pink, don't let it discourage you. It has kind of a gummy texture to it, and it does not matter which brand. They all have like this gumminess. It's just the pigment. It's just how the pigment is. And there's a history to each of these colors that I just love. If you go to Daniel Smith's website, danielsmith.com, they have something called color stories. And each one of these colors has a little kind of like maybe overly romanticized, maybe not, depends on your perspective. I love it. But they have like this little blurb about each color, where it comes from, how it was used historically. So check that out. Potter's Pink is a fun one. And you can see that granulation just starting to happen. It's just starting to happen. Look at that. By the way, I'm working on Fabriano Artistico cold press paper today. And this is the really thick 600 GSM. So it's like 300-pound paper. It's pretty thick. This is just a sample I got when I was at Fabriano in Italy. But I don't have it taped down or anything. It's super thick. It shouldn't buckle too much on us. Okay. And then Minnesota Pipestone Genuine. This is one of those Primatech colors made from actual rock. So this is made from Minnesota Pipestone, obviously. Obviously. Every time I say that, I think of Professor Snape. Anyone else? Okay. So this is another one that I use instead of pink. Like if I see a tongue that looks pink, or the inside of an ear that looks pink, or a muzzle. In fact, that's what I used right here on this cutie's muzzle. I just dropped in a little bit of Minnesota Pipestone. It's a granulating color, just like the other Primatechs are. Here we go. I'm loving your guys' questions. So if you have questions, feel free to post in the chat and I will do my best to answer. Okay, so there's Minnesota Pipestone. I'm going to go ahead and set that to the side and we'll move on to another one of my favorite. This is also a genuine Primatech color. This is called Piemontite. Some people say Piemontite. I just say pie. I think of apple pie. I say, okay, word association, pie, apple pie, Piemontite. So that's how I remember it. But look at that stunning granulation. Beautiful. So I literally just used this for the inside of the ear right there. And I mixed it with a little neutral tint. Do you see what the neutral tint did for it? It deepened it. But you've still got that granulation. You've still got, it's just such a beautiful color. I do use that quite a bit for tongues. I mean, doesn't that just look like a tongue? Seriously. Great color for tongues. It's also good for eyes. I've seen animal eyes that have kind of this tone to it. And these little things are great. These little granulation areas are fantastic for the iris of an eye. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So I'll go ahead and swatch that. And I am running out of room. I didn't think, when you're swatching, you never really think ahead, right? It's just like, you just start going. So I don't know that my swatches are going to maintain this beautiful congruency, but they're going to be swatched one way or another. So look at that. It's almost like a maroon, like a maroony brown. Beautiful color. Beautiful. There it is. And you can lift it really easily. So there's that, used for tongues, used for ears that are pink, but they're in shadow. I used this on an adorable raccoon. I think it's on my website. It's ashleyhawksstudio.com/welcome. I can't figure out how to drop the /welcome. So it's there. Eventually I'll figure it out, but that's what my website is for now. Okay, let's talk about neutral tint. That's what's next. Neutral tint is one that I run through this color so much. I just run through it. I keep having to buy more tubes because it is my go-to. It's my black. I like it because it has so many nuances in it. It's not just a boring flat black color. It leans purple. It has a little bit of, I think it does. Does that have granulation? I can't remember if it granulates or not. But so the difference, to answer the question about this and lunar black, and it's a big difference. Big, big, big difference. Look at that. So here you've got cookies and cream. To me, it just looks like Oreos. Look at that granulation. You've got this big, chunky, gorgeous separation going on and granulation. If you've seen the work of Nicholas Lopez, you will understand what lunar black can do, because his paintings are mostly lunar black and they're incredible. So go Google Nicholas Lopez and enjoy lunar black, because it is beautiful. So that's lunar black, granulating, and it is a true black neutral tint, not granulating, and it's more of a in the camera it looks neutral, but to my eye it has a little bit of a purple tint to it. So there's your answer, the difference between those two. I just used this to paint a Dalmatian. Oh, so that's why I say that if I could pick one more color for my dot card, it would definitely be lunar black, because it's great for parrot beaks. I did a parrot with a black scratchy looking beak, and this was perfect. And it was so perfect for this Dalmatian. Tomorrow morning, I am teaching a workshop on this. It's also on my Eventbrite page. I think I've closed registration, but if you want to join this last minute, please just email me and I will get you set up for that. So there's your lunar black. Beautiful. Okay, so neutral tint is what I use to do eyes. So eyes, let me show you this. This one's an unfinished painting. But anywhere that you see like black around the eyes and in the center of the pupil, that's your neutral tint. And on this specific painting, I warmed it up with a little bit of burnt umber, because neutral tint, like I said, it leans cool. And if I want to neutralize it or like make it a little warmer, I can add a brown to it. Sometimes I'll add the Van Dyke brown. Sometimes I'll add burnt umber. It just depends on what I'm looking for. So neutral tint, I highly, highly recommend that color. It is, let me finish my swatch. I'm all over the place. I hope my Eventbrite people made it over here. The folks who signed up on Eventbrite, I wasn't sure the link was working, so I had to email everybody last minute. So I apologize if that was you, and you are, hopefully nobody's missing this right now. Let's see here. Pet portraits. Let me look. Just 1 second. I know I had about 6 or 7 people sign up for this. Sales have ended. Oh, I hope that they comment in the, yeah, I have 9 people that should have been able to come. Let me look at the link. Go ahead and comment in the chat if you are one of those and you're here from Eventbrite. Please let me know. I want to make sure my people made it here. I'm going to feel so bad if these people signed up and didn't make it. Okay, moving on. So neutral tint. Yes, Nancy, you clearly need to go shopping. I agree. These are, I just can't even. Neutral tint is also cool because you can add it to other colors, and that's what the name implies. You can add it to other colors. If you want to dull them down or neutralize them, it's great for making shadows. Like, let's say you've got something that needs a shadow under it, like my sketchbook work. Like, let's say that this is a piece of coal and I need a shadow under it. Neutral tint, shadow. Look at that beautiful shadow. So yeah, great, great, great color. Good. It's right next to Payne's Gray on my palette. Payne's Gray is a little more blue. Speaking of which, let's see what I did with that. We'll get to Payne's Gray just a minute. I'm trying to work in order on the dot card. So next we have Hematite Genuine. Now this color is absolutely pure magic. It's magnetic. So literally you can paint it on paper and then run a magnet under it. I think I can do that for you. I have a magnet right here. Okay, so I've got my magnet. It's just a clippy thing. So hematite is actually made from a stone called hematite, which is has magnetic properties to it. So it's got to be a pretty wet mixture. I'm going to add a little more water. I'm going to let that flow. Hematite's great for elephant skin. It's great for anything that needs that texture. Okay, let's see if we can get, I don't know if it's going to work for me today. This magnet's way too big. Way too big. Let me get a smaller one. Let's see if this works a little bit better. Try this at home. If you have hematite, go ahead and try it. Do you see that? It's moving. How flippin' cool is that? Guys, come on. Come on. This color is so cool. So hematite. And like I said, that's what I used for this French bulldog that I painted today. And I warmed it. Can you see I added some transparent yellow oxide to warm it up. And that's what's so fun. If you're trying to achieve a granulation like this, but you need it toned a different color, just mix some hematite with it. So let's say you want it to be pink. Get your quinacridone red and mix it with the hematite. And you're going to get the coolest granulating color. And the granulation particles turn kind of, they're black. They're like a almost black color. Let me look at that. So you got to run out and get hematite, order it, whatever you need to do. It's a great color to have in your palette. It's very unique. And that's the thing is, like, a lot of people ask me, like, well, your colors, you have so many similar colors on here. And they look at it and they go, oh, that's really lots of earthy colors and they look alike, but they all do something different. They all have different properties. And so that's why these are the friends I invited to the party. All right, Van Dyke Brown, just a great go-to deep neutral brown. Let me swatch that hematite. I'm getting ahead of myself. I think I got pink in my hematite. I don't know if it's ever going to be right again. Let me see if I can pull the pink out. I was being messy. So maybe my swatch is going to have a little tint of pink to it. That's all right. Okay. So hematite, when you first put it down, it just looks kind of like grayish brown. And then the magic starts to happen and you go, what? Same with lunar black. You put it down and think you're getting a really deep dark black. And then all of a sudden it separates and granulates and you go, whoa. Let me make sure. Let me share this over on Eventbrite to make sure everybody got it. I would just feel so bad if people didn't make it in. I emailed them, but I don't know what happened. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that, I need to get someone to be my moderator and help me out with stuff. I will moving forward. So this is Van Dyke Brown. Here we go. It's pretty. Most brands have a Van Dyke Brown. They're all pretty similar. It's just a staple to me in my palette. I use it so much. It's just a beautiful, like, rich, dark chocolate. brown. And let me phase that out a little bit, add a little water. And okay. Now we're on transparent brown oxide. And I'm going to put burnt umber next to it so you can see the difference. I think... One moment, please. I just want to make sure people are getting the live stream link. Paste. Sending it now. Oh, I would feel bad. I know there's only 9 people, but I would feel really bad if those people were trying to get in and they couldn't. All right. Hello, Angela. Thank you for coming. As if you hadn't had enough of me today. Okay. We are swatching my dot card and we are at transparent brown oxide. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that. It's similar to the transparent red oxide as we discussed earlier, which is right here. But it's this rich, rich cocoa brown. I could not choose between burnt umber and this, so burnt umber got to stay. And they are different. As you can see, the granulation's different. They have a different tone about them. So, oh gosh, this color. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And when it's wet, it looks a little different than when it dries. But oh, these transparent oxides are just rich, delicious colors. I'm not going to eat them, don't worry, but sometimes I want to. I mean, does that not look like chocolate? Hello, Buffy. I'm glad you enjoyed my demo. I did paint on that dog a little bit more, and I've been showing it here and there. So you guys, I talked earlier about the way that I make my swatches is I dip my hand in my water and I flick it. And that's how I get this. Look at that. This is what I love about watercolor. It's gorgeous. And so I don't swatch. Usually when I swatch, I'm flicking water on, and these ones I haven't been doing. So you can see the difference. You can see the difference between the swatches that have water splashed on them and the ones that don't. And I just like the way that it looks. So there's our piemontite, which is there. So try that. If that's something that looks good to you and that's something that you like the look of, try splashing some water. Like, splash some water on and see what happens. I mean, come on, look at that. Beautiful. Let me just clean that up. I love me a good mess. Okay, so that's our transparent brown oxide. Now let's paint burnt umber next to it and see what we get. Hi, Marjorie. Thank you. I really enjoyed doing that demo. It was very fun. I was wanting to finish it, but that's okay. Sometimes when you're talking, it's hard to paint at your normal rate, but hopefully everybody learns something they can go paint and learn from it. That's all that matters, right? Okay, let me just, ooh. Guys, burnt umber is so pretty. It reminds me of leather, like the texture that you end up getting. I mean, doesn't that look like leather or something? Beautiful color. Okay, we're moving on and running out of paper. That's okay. I have lots of paper. We're okay. All right, Payne's Gray, just a go-to staple. And you can tell that it leans blue. It's got granulation. It's got transparency. Look at this. Can you tell the difference? They're ever so slightly different. But this one has blue undertones in the washes and a deeper, darker, chunkier granulation. So this one can make some beautiful gray washes. I like to make what I call dirty water using Payne's Gray for the inside of a dog's eye or a cat's eye or whatever animal you're painting. Let me just show an example. So sometimes The white part of the eye, and I've said this before and I'll say it 1,000 times, white is rarely white because you've got so many nuances. So this right here, this white part of the eye, that is a really light wash of Payne's Gray. I just call it dirty water. Payne's Gray, watered down significantly, is the perfect color for the white part of an eye, whether it's human, whether it's animal. That's great. And then also this nose was done in Payne's Gray. And I'm not finished with this, as you can tell. Anybody else have a few unfinished paintings around their studio? Because yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, so let's swatch the Payne's Gray. I also really love Payne's Blue Gray. That was another discovery I made last year, and boy, is it a gorgeous color. But I can make that by adding like some ultramarine to some Payne's Gray, and I can make my own. So that's why I chose just the plain Payne's Gray for my dot card. Here we go. Beautiful color. And again, drop in a little bit of water, see what happens. I feel like artists either embrace cauliflowering, blossoming, whatever you want to call it. You either embrace it or you try to avoid it. I'm one who I embrace it. There are times where you don't want that to happen. And there are times you do. You just have to know the difference between the two. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch Soda Light here. And then I will get a new paper. I do have a paper under this, but it's for something specific, so I don't want to use that. And when we're done, guys, be thinking about some mixes you might want to see from this dot card. You can also go to the Daniel Smith website and look at my dot card up close. You can read more about the colors and their pigment properties. Daniel Smith has a fantastic resource called I think it's called the Interactive Color Map. Used to be called the C-Lab, but they changed it because it was a little bit complicated for people to understand. Go check out Daniel Smith Interactive Color Map, and you can actually click the drop down and you can pull up my dot card specifically, and it will show you a map of all my colors together. And it's just such a cool resource. Okay. I'm going to switch to this paper, but first, I need to put a piece of paper under it. My studio is a mess right now. It's a glorious, glorious mess. All right, we're going to just set this aside. We're leaking. I'm leaking. Okay. King's Royal Blue. And we are almost done swatching these, guys. King's Royal Blue is a new-ish color from Daniel Smith. And literally the reason this is on my dot card is for the highlight of the eye. I cannot tell you how many times I've went to paint an animal and the highlight in the eye was not white. And I used to mask off the white highlight. I used to think it was white. And so I would mask it off with masking fluid and leave it the white of the paper. And it just didn't look right to me. And then when I got looking, I realized, wait a minute. Most times when you get an animal's photo, whether it's from a prospective client or it's a professionally made picture, you're getting the reflection of the sky. And so what a better way to create that kind of cloud and sky reflection in the eye than this beautiful, almost kind of an opaque color, King's Royal Blue. I love this color. It also works really good for other things. Sometimes the top of a dog's nose will look kind of light blue, and you can use this color for so many things. It's also a great mixer. Like I said, here's where I mixed it with the nickel azo yellow. Look at those greens. Look at the granulation. It's beautiful. All right, so there's our King's Royal Blue. I'll leave that there so you can see it. And then next we're going to do ultramarine. And guys, ultramarine is just It's just a staple. And it is my favorite mixing blue. And if you like granulation and you like to make your own granulating mixes, ultramarine blue is your go-to blue for making your own like super granulation type mixes. Mix this with anything and you're going to end up with a beautiful granulating color. Here it is mixed with the nickel azo yellow. Look at those greens. Look at the granulation. It's beautiful, beautiful. Ultramarine is what is in Rose of Ultramarine. So all that is quinacridone rose and ultramarine blue. And so if you like Rose of Ultramarine, this and then the red on my dot card is going to give you the same effect. So this is my answer to Rose of Ultramarine using the colors on my dot card. Ultramarine mixed with quinacridone red. How stunning is that? And yes, Buffy, I do see your question and I will answer it in just a second. Guys, how pretty is that? You could do this with any of like the magenta, quin red, quin pink, quin rose, a lot of those bright, vibrant quins, and they're transparent, non-granulating, mixed with ultramarine. Oh, it doesn't get better than that. Beautiful, beautiful mix. Here's the quin red mixed with the King's Royal blue. And that is almost like lavender. So if you love Daniel Smith lavender, you can essentially mix something like that using the colors on my dot card, quin red and King's Royal blue. So those are two gorgeous, almost like purpley things you can make with my dot card. I made sure to have 3 primaries at least on my dot card. So you see how these swatches differ, okay? I love this about watercolor is that you can make it look like this and you can make it look like this. This almost looks like denim with the texture of this paper. This is my last piece of the Fabriano Artistico soft press. Do you see that? I don't know if you guys can see the texture. I'm going to lift this up for you. It's gorgeous, but look at the texture. This paper is delightful to paint on. Absolutely delightful. Okay, we're done swatching the colors. Now we can talk a little bit more about mixes and whatnot. Buffy asked, what is your favorite mix with Potter's Pink? Here's the crazy part, Buffy. I don't really mix it. That's why I love Potter's Pink, because it's ready to go. It's so fantastic for tongues. Speaking of which, got a tongue right there. It's great for tongues. And my favorite thing is those bloodshot eyes. That's Potter's Pink. It's just perfect because, you know, bloodshot eyes often will have like little veins and stuff. And so the granulation of the Potter's Pink often replicates that for you. So it just takes the guesswork out of it. It is so great for tongues. Same with the Piemontite, which we talked about earlier. I'm going to move actually, I'll keep this. I have this to-do list under here that's not waterproof ink, and I don't want it to get on my noses here. So here's my progress on the dog from live today. I've got quite a bit of work to do on the nose, but this is Piemontite, genuine, mixed with neutral tint. So anytime you want to deepen a color, add it in a shadow area, and you want that kind of shadowy look, I'm trying to pull that out. You're going to want to take your neutral tint and mix it. So this literally is Piemontite mixed with neutral tint. Beautiful mixture. It's almost like a caput mortem color. If you've seen, like, I know a lot of companies have caput mortem, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But that's what that looks like to me. So that's a fun mixture to do. But play around with neutral tint, mix it with stuff, and see what you get. Okay. Okay. I feel like I had some more to say. Okay. I wanted to talk about eyes. I really love burnt umber for eyes. This is burnt umber right there. And the way that I achieved that almost like see-through glass look is by lifting. So I had painted burnt umber on, and then I took just like a clean damp brush and wet it. And then I took like my paper towel. I use cloth napkins, and I just kind of soaked it up, and it gave me that, like, you know how the light goes into the iris of the eye and it lights up. That's how I get that. Okay, let's see here. And then I did honorable mention was Lunar Black. This is a fantastic mixer as well. So Lunar Black is going to be, if you, like I said, if you are into super granulation, Lunar Black is in a lot of those. So now the company Schminka, they have their super granulating mixes, and they use Mars Black, which is slightly different than Daniel Smith's Lunar Black. It's a little warmer and the granulation's a little bit different. But I digress. That is the same situation that they have. I'm really worried about that ink getting on my noses here. So let's take that. And I know this isn't on my dot card, but boy, I wish it was. I think at the last minute, I just decided to leave it off. And it was a sad, regretful decision. But like, let's say you want to make some fun granulation colors. That almost looks like soda light, doesn't it? And the way that you encourage granulation is by adding some water. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. Yes, Elizabeth, you should get Lunar Black. It is beautiful. I have that bird beak that I painted with it. Let me grab that. So here's an example of a situation where Lunar Black just really shines. This beak was painted with Lunar Black. And then this does have pen on it. I used a fountain pen to make all these hairs and then a few of these lines. And then I also used an opaque white medium, probably gouache or something, and made lines. But look what the Lunar Black did. Gorgeous. Just so stunning. So that was a fun one. And you guys saw my Dalmatian. Like I said, and here's what's fun. Look at this. I mixed some burnt umber and some ultramarine blue because I was trying to make my own kind of a black color and see if I could do it. And I splattered it down here. How pretty is that? Elizabeth, no, I have not painted sheep. But wouldn't that be fun? I love painting animals that are white because you just really get to paint like the shadow areas. Look at this, you guys. How pretty. That is just beautiful. So yeah, Lunar Black. Not on my dot card, regretfully, but yeah. So there's some really fun mixtures you can make. Let's play around a little bit with this. There's going to be times where you're doing an animal and it's going to have purple or violet. And you need to make that. And you only had, like, let's say you only had these colors that are on my dot card. Let's see what we can do. So let me take, so this is ultramarine and quinacridone red. You can add more of the ultramarine, like so. Oh, so pretty. Look at that. Wow. And then you can add a lot more of the red. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Love that. And to encourage granulation. That's my dirty water. I'm splattering dirty water, guys. The cool part about this mixture is when you go to lift, the pink is left behind. The blue lifts and the pink is left behind. It's so cool. Let me show you an example of that. And so this one is literally painted with Rose of Ultramarine. So that nose right there is Rose of Ultramarine. And I did add some ultramarine in areas that I wanted it to lean more blue. But I lifted right there And all of this is lifted. And do you see how it lifts the ultramarine, and then that you see how it lifts the ultramarine, and then that quinacridone rose is left behind. How cool is that? So you can essentially make that color on your own if you had these colors on my dot card. So, Tori said, I bet the Sodalite makes gorgeous green mixes with any of the yellows. Ooh, should we try that? I love that. That is such a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's why I have you guys, because you have different brains than me. So I'm grabbing the Sodalite. Oh, it's going to be, I can already guess that it's going to make us some beautiful, rich, like olivey greens. Let's start with my favorite yellow, the Nickel Azo. And hold on. I'm already getting like this really pretty lime green. And then we're going to get some beautiful, stunning granulation. But ooh, baby, look at that. Let me go a little more. But yeah, I can tell we're getting like this moody shadow green. That's pretty. Good idea, Tori. Good idea. If I had a prize, you would win it. Hi, Erica. Thank you for your comment and book recommendations. Gosh, no, but maybe I'll write one. I've actually been thinking like, ooh, I could write a book on how to do pet portraits. I don't know how many exist out there. I'd have to do some research, but I bet you could hop on Amazon or Google and find out if there's books. I know, and it's ink and watercolor. This book is a classic, and unfortunately, Claudia getting elderly, and she's no longer with us. She a classic. I started learning about Claudia, and she's just so cool. But this is a book I highly recommend. It's just, I was really sick or something. No, I think I had a kidney surgery. I've had so many, I can't even remember. But I had a surgery, and I grabbed this at the library, and I remember laying on the couch, recovering from surgery, fulfilling my creative desires by reading this cover to cover. But it's not necessarily about pet portraits. But if I'm going to recommend any book, it would be this one. It's so good. It's so good. Look at that. And she does use ink and fountain pens, which I am so into. My sketchbook is fountain pen and ink. One of these days, I'm going to do a live stream and show my sketchbooks. It's quite a different kind of art than my pet portraits. It's almost more cartoony. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. It is past the hour. We are about 10 minutes past, but because we got started late, let's do a couple more mixes. I don't want to end too soon. So let's try the Sodalite with the Quin Gold. Ooh, buddy, let's see what we can get. I keep forgetting that this is where I should be mixing. I have another palette going on over here, and I keep forgetting to mix so you guys can see. So Sodalite. I can already tell this is going to be beautiful. So Quin Gold and Sodalite. Oh, yeah. You know, I like this one because it almost has a glowing effect. If you could see it in person, that Quin Gold added to anything just makes it glow. It's like liquid sunshine. It's beautiful. Yeah. Elizabeth says she's writing a list right now of Daniel Smith colors she needs to get. Good. You know, at some point you just have to get the catalog and like start circling. That's what I did when I first got into Daniel Smith. I got their little brochure, and they have like a fold out brochure, and I started circling the ones I had and putting hearts on the ones that I needed to get, because there's just so many great colors. I love Daniel Smith, as you can see. But look at those fun mixes we're getting. And that's pretty too. Beautiful. Okay, before we end, I wanted to paint some noses. Speaking of little kitten noses, let me pull up the reference photo. All of my reference photos that I used for drawing these came from unsplash.com. That's a royalty-free reference photo website. They do have a subscription version as well now, which I did subscribe to so that I could get some specific reference photos. But I do like to take my own pictures, and I like to work from that whenever I can. Okay, I'm looking at this pink nose, and I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm going to get some quinacridone red, and I'm going to add a little bit of nickel azo yellow to it, because this is almost like an orangey peachy color. And to get that, we're going to mix those two together. And I'm just going to go in on dry, wet on dry. So do you see how even though this dot card is full of these gorgeous earthy, rich colors and granulating, you can still make a clear, because remember, nickel, azo yellow, quinacridone red are non-granulating transparent colors. So you can achieve a non-granulating look, because this kitten nose is smooth. It's almost like rubbery. And then there's areas on the nose that are a little darker, and so I'm going to add a little bit of a darker mix, and I'm going to drop that in down here, getting a little more yellow. And then like in the nose area, and all along here. It was really important to me that my dot card had enough options to be able to make non-granulating pretty pinks like this cute little baby's nose. I love this. You could also use quinacridone burnt orange mixed with quinacridone red to produce a rich, like this color. Add a little more red to that. And do you ever get mixing and you accidentally like go too far? Boy, I do. So there you go. And obviously in a real situation, I'm going to let that first layer dry, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea. And also these quinacridones lift very nicely. Let's say I wanted this upper pink part to be lighter. I'm going to wet that. And I'm going to take my cloth and dab to lighten that up. So there you have that. And I'm going to just soften. And then in the center, after this dries, the center, I could actually use neutral tint for the dark nostril area. So, yay! I love this cat too. I wish it was mine. I would just squish it and kiss it, and I love kittens. Oh my gosh. Okay. So while that's drying, let's grab this dog nose here. Oh, I love this dog nose. Do you guys not love this pebbly nose? This one, I would definitely start with some Van Dyke Brown. And I would just go right in on the darks. I am different than a lot of artists in that sometimes I just charge right in. Dry paper, super thick, dark pigment, and I just get busy. Because I can soften those lines. I just have to work kind of fast so that they don't dry too quickly. But there's just, to me, it's really important to get the nostrils established before I do anything else, because I cannot tell you how many times I've done a light layer first of like the lightest color, and then I lose my nostrils, and I'm sitting there trying to figure out where the heck did the nostrils go? And nostrils, your brain is like, oh, it's round, but nostrils are not round. Like, especially if the dog has its head tilted, even the one that doesn't, your brain will try to trick you and say, that the nostrils are round and do not listen to your brain because your brain is lying. No, your brain is doing the best it can. I get that. But oftentimes we look at something like an eyeball and we say, it's round. So keep that in mind. Look at shapes. Look for shapes and paint shapes. So we've got our main line, and then down here's dark. And I am outlining, which a lot of artists they're going to say never outline. But as long as you can soften your lines later, you can totally outline. It just depends. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I soften and drag that out. I'm taking just a damp, clean brush. It might not be super clean. And I'm looking at areas where the line needs to be soft. And I'm going to let it kind of bleed. That's one of my favorite looks. All right, let me grab a little more Van Dyke Brown, and I'm going to just fill this in. And now I'm doing a little wet and wet action. Going to add some water. But the reason I do it this way is so I can establish some of my darks before I move forward. There's something about it. I like to establish the really deep darks first before. And this Van Dyke Brown is just such a great neutral, deep, rich brown. And we all love Dick Van Dyke, so I mean, maybe that's why I like it, because I like Dick Van Dyke and it makes me think of him because it's called Van Dyke. I don't know. It's not even spelled the same. But anyway, to encourage that pebbly granulation texture, I have used salt. Salt is really fun. And I highly recommend trying salt for noses. Just like that chunky sea salt. Table salt's okay, but it's going to give you a very different look. I like the chunky grains of sea salt, like what you would get from a sea salt grinder. And I know a lot of grocery stores sell chunky sea salt in bulk. So that's what I do. I'll go to the grocery store and just buy myself a supply of it. Okay, I'm seeing that it's almost got a pink look to it. So maybe this would be a good time to mix some Potter's Pink. Let's try it. Can't go wrong, right? Nothing bad could happen here. Piemontite would be good too. Or, look at this, Minnesota Pipestone Genuine. Look at that. Wouldn't that be perfect? So we can try that for the highlights. But I am going to do a little wet in wet action here. So let me soften some things out. If you get hard lines, don't worry about it. We can fix it. We just don't want to fuss too much, because you want that natural look. With watercolor, it's wild. It's natural. It's, I always say, I don't want my paintings to look contrived. Like I tried so hard, or I worked too hard, and I pushed too much, and I overwork it. And I do it all the time because I'm human and I'm not perfect. But I really am thinking that the rest of this nose should be like a Minnesota Pipestone or just something that has like a warm pinky. Oh, you can't see the top of the nose. I'm so sorry. Thank you for saying something, Tori. Like I said, I'm new to this and I really appreciate the feedback. So thank you. I'm going to drop in some Minnesota Pipestone Genuine. The reason I'm just dropping it in is because I want that pebbly texture. And this is a highlight. I'm trying to kind of avoid that. But anywhere where there's like that pinkiness, that's what we're going for. And then what I would do is let that dry, and then I'll come back in when that layer is dry, and I will continue with one more layer. I probably do 2 to 3 layers on this nose, but this was my first layer, and I'm trying to keep the highlights. I did lose some of the highlights, but the cool part is that's why we can lift. Salt would be cool right now. Let me grab some. Because salt, you need to put salt on when there's a certain wetness. So unfortunately, my chunky salt got mixed in with some table salt. And so I kind of have to, it's okay if we get a little of that. Tori, my smallest brush is actually not that small. It is a size 2. And I generally don't need to go smaller than 2. I own tiny, tiny brushes, but I don't, like, look at this one. This is a 20-0. I just don't find myself using them that much. This tip is why it's kind of bent because it's been through a lot. This is a couple years old, but look how tiny that can get. And that's been just fine for me. So let me just finish putting some salt on this little nose. I'm going to let it go down there. And you got to let that dry completely. And then you can move on. And you know what? While it's wet, I'm going to add a little more of the Van Dyke Brown. And I'll mix it just so we get some consistency. I'm going to mix it with the Piemontite. And forgive me if my brain is fried slightly. It's been a wonderful, engaging day for me. See how I'm getting these cute little, like, almost like the pebbles. I'm just dabbling on here and there. And I'm working, this is interesting. I'm working on salted areas. So that's something you can do if you're careful. But I'm starting to lose those nostrils a little bit. We'll bring them back. Down here, I could even use some neutral tint mixed with Van Dyke Brown to deepen this area down here. Look at that. Neutral tint is a great mixer if you like with a brown, if you want to deepen it. So anyway, there's that. I'm going to leave that little guy alone for a minute because we don't want to go too far. Yes, the salt is so fun. I highly recommend that. It's going to be a really cool effect when it's done. We can come back to this cat and we can darken inside the nostril. I'm going to use neutral tint. And perhaps I can mix it with the pink. That's going to give us like a purple color. But I've got my neutral tint. And let me pull back that cat painting. Sorry, photo. It's not a painting. And I'm noticing it goes like this. It goes like that. And that's a hard line right now, so I will soften that. But and perhaps this is way too dark. Perhaps. But this is just a demo. I make mistakes all the time. All the time. So don't ever beat yourself up because like everybody makes mistakes. Everybody struggles sometimes. It's true. See? I just made a mistake right there. It's fine though. We just soak it up. We just clean our brush. Clean the brush. And then we can kind of soak it back up. See that brush? That's the cool part about learning brush control is you can use your brush as a sponge, excuse me, to soak up and lift. Okay. I'm going to grab this dark color. And we're going to pull it down here. I just love earth tones. I grew up in the mountains, basically. My dad loves like hunting and fishing and camping and doing ATVs. And so that's how I grew up. And I grew up in the mountains. Like, we don't live in the mountains, but we were constantly in the mountains. And I just have such a strong connection with nature. And so earth tones to me they're my happy place. And so when I had the opportunity and the privilege to create a dot card, I knew that I wanted to use the strengths that Daniel Smith has, because that's what attracted me to Daniel Smith in the first place, was the earth tone selection. I mean, goodness, it's amazing. So let's do another nose real quick and a tongue, and then I think should we play with this tongue? Look at this ridiculous dog. Isn't he so sweet? He's got some white spots on his tongue that are concerning, but maybe he should see a vet. I don't know. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to set this off to the side because there's no way I can show you guys and paint, but you'll get the idea. So I am back with my quinacridone red, because that bottom part of the tongue is it's glowing. There's light coming from behind it or underneath it. And so that glow can be achieved by painting with quinacridone red and nickel azo yellow. And so that glow, that's how we're going to get that. Start with that. And then as the tongue goes up, it begins to dull out and get darker. And I'm really leaning towards, let me think. I'm leaning towards Potter's Pink. And you can mess with Potter's Pink. You can warm it, of course. You can warm anything with a little bit of yellow. But I'm going to do a little wet. Oh, hi, Pepper. My daughter's here. Hi, sweetheart. Thank you for supporting my art. Let's see. I'm going to warm up. I don't know. I've never played too much with the Potter's Pink, warming it or mixing it, because I just like it the way it is. But it is a fantastic tongue color. I added the smallest bit of yellow, nickel azo yellow, to this. And I'm leaving some highlights. But what a great, oh my gosh, what a great tongue color. And it's got that beautiful tongue texture too that we want. Isn't that great? And we'll let that dry. And in the meantime, we're going to do this nose. And this one is so fun as well. But I'm going to use Payne's Gray. This nose is not, I mean, Payne's Gray has a bluish tint to it. And you can see how light the values are up here. But it's the same situation. I like to start with the dark nostrils. And this time I am going to let them dry a little bit so I don't lose them. You could do Payne's Gray and you can mix it with neutral tint if you wish, or you can leave it alone. Mixing's fun for me. I just really enjoy mixing. But there are some colors, like I said, like Potter's Pink, that are perfect just the way they are. So I'm just doing the dark part of the nostril here. It'd be a good idea for me to do that and then kind of let it be for a little bit. Bottom part. Hi, Jade. Thank you for your comment, and you're so welcome. Thank you for being here. It's absolutely a gift for me to get to share what I love with people. So I really appreciate you all being here and not just being interested, but like showing support. And I love the art community, you guys. I love the art community. Honestly, I was really scared at first to start like a YouTube channel. I've avoided it for years. And as I've grown my Instagram, like the art community, like there's no competition. Everybody supports each other. I'm sure that there's people out there, but I have only experienced the best. I have experienced so much love and so much support. Because the thing is, there's enough to go around. We don't need to walk around in a scarcity mindset saying like, oh, I can't share my tips, or I can't teach other people how to do pet portraits because they're going to take away my client. Not true. There's enough and to spare. And we all benefit when we share our ideas. I really believe in the power of mentors. And having somebody guide us and teach us. And for me to get to do that for anybody else is a gift. I love it. We just all can lift each other. What is that saying? When the tide comes in, all the boats in the harbor rise together. And to me, that's the epitome of the art community. I've not had any, well, yet. I don't have a huge following. I have not had any negative comments. I haven't had any like trolls yet or haters. I'm sure with time and more people seeing my content, that's going to happen. I know that that's inevitable, but I'm not worried about it at all. Because anybody who's walking around the world spreading that, like they're just, I kind of feel sorry for them because they're so unhappy. And I know how imperfect I am as a person. I know how much I have to learn and grow, but like having the support of the art community has been so amazing. And that is one of the reasons I love Daniel Smith. Honestly, it's not just a product. It's not just a watercolor company. It's a family. And John and Catherine, the owners, they just do an amazing job building this family. So I will 100% back up Daniel Smith. All right. Just kind of playing around. So this is Payne's Gray. And you can look at other companies' Payne's Gray. They're all quite different. And then, of course, we also have Jane's Gray and Davies Gray and all these different grays. There's a beautiful database where you can look at different brands and compare them. It's Dr. Otto Kano website database. Let's see if I can post it in the chat here. Okay, so it's ottokano.com. And it's just, she has a YouTube channel, but she has compiled a pigment thing of all the, posting in the chat right now, ottokano.com. Her watercolor database is incredible. So you can go look at and compare brands, compare pigments. It's so cool. Nancy said, I'm glad to find a fellow animal artist. When I was in art school, no one would have dared to do an animal piece. That's interesting to me. That's so interesting. But yeah, look what I'm doing with my wrist. I've got like salt all over. It's fine. It's just part of the mark making now, right? Okay, so I'm looking at this tongue, and I often will use piemontite towards the top of the tongue. Where it's shadowy in the mouth, you get like this deep, dark maroon color. And so you can actually, like, let's say there's a shadow here. There really isn't. The reference photo doesn't have a shadow. But a lot of times the tongue, where it comes out of inside the mouth, piemontite is perfect to get that. Do you see what that just did? That gave it that beautiful shadowing coming out there. I'm just kind of playing with pulling it down. The Primatech line is incredible. I love it. Let's see. Oh, maybe, I don't think she did take it down. Oh, let me look. Oh no. Yeah, it looks like the site is down. Gosh, that sucks. I'm not seeing it, but maybe we could search it. Maybe she changed the domain. I don't know. Watercolor database. Let me look, because this is such a resource. Jane Blundell does the same thing. Jane Blundell has, yeah, it's down. Look up Jane Blundell. She has a similar database. So, yeah, I think that's sufficient for today, and I think we'll go ahead and end here in a minute. I just want to show you the Quin Gold, the Quin Burnt Orange. Like if you're doing an eye, this eye's out of focus, so you'd want to soften all your edges, of course. But that Quin Burnt Orange would be perfect for that brown eye. Because when the sunlight hits a brown eye, it looks orange. It looks like it's on fire. So what a great color to use for that. So, Buffy, yes, she saved the database in case for the future. Okay. Her YouTube videos are still up. So guys, go to Otto Kano's YouTube and she's got like comparisons out the wazoo. Like, oh my goodness. And she does a thorough job. So, all right. Well, guys, I'm so grateful for 13 of you who are here and those who wish they could be here. And hopefully my Eventbrite sign up people made it. If any of you are here, thank you. And this will be posted as a replay so that anybody who couldn't stay or came in late, you can watch it from the beginning. So thank you all for being here. And I hope you all have an amazing weekend because it's Friday, y'all. It's Friday. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Buffy. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Elizabeth, Jade, Pepper, Tori. Anybody else that I didn't? Marjorie was here. So thank you guys. I love you all, and I hope you have an amazing weekend. Bye.